Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Hey, I'm getting ready to go do some catfishing. I'd really like to kind of get my hands on a flathead out here today. So it's been a little bit of a tough year with the flatheads. I've only caught one, and it's been a small one. So I'm kind of expecting already the bite out here to be somewhat limited, whether with the flatheads or the channels, just because at the time I'm filming this video, we're in the middle of spawn. Of course, by the time you guys see this video, we should be well out of the spawn. But right now, while I'm filming, right in the middle of the spawn, so bites should be somewhat limited regardless with these fish being on the nest. But I think what I'm going to kind of try to do is just change my approach a little bit out here today and see if that makes any difference or not. So traditionally what I have done is I have set up on these brush piles that are laying down in the water, and just a little bit deeper water associated with those brush piles. And I've kind of just set up on the upstream side of those piles, dropped a bait. I'm using either live bait or most of the time cut bait, and kind of figure that if there is a fish that's somewhat active on that pile, then I'm in its vicinity and my scent is going to move downstream, and those fish are going to come out and find my bait. Well, that works well in theory. It's worked well for me in the past, but for some reason this year the flathead bite has just been virtually non-existent. So I'm just going to tweak that a little bit today. I'm going to spend more time fishing each spot, and I'm just going to be more thorough. I'm going to drop a bait, move a little bit, drop a bait, move a little bit, and spend more time fishing each individual brush pile if I feel like there really should be a flathead sitting on it somewhere, and just try to probe it a little bit more and see if I can't make something happen that way. I'm hoping it'll help our cause, especially with the flatheads, but maybe will help our cause as well, even with channel cats, where we're in the spawn and the bite is likely to be less limited. If I can just kind of probe these piles, get my bait right in the face of a fish, it should give us an opportunity to reel some in today. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting a little bit experimental out here today, but interested in seeing what we find out. So let's get to it. Let's go see if we can catch some fish. I think it's a turtle, actually, the way it's hitting. But it might be a turtle that has the hook. That's annoying. Let's see. Maybe he just won't let go. Oh, that's a fish, actually, believe it or not. That was odd. Oh, boy. And he just popped it. He hit so strange. That was a smaller fish. Hit so strange, I never really set the hook on him. Well, we'll try again here. Kind of abandoned my previous thoughts on being more methodical out here and just kind of working these structures a little bit more thorough. It hasn't really panned out, so we're going back to, oh geez, what's he done here? Figure out how to get my bait back. We're going back to just fishing structure and trying to cover water. Just try to get our baits in front of as many fish as we can and see if that'll work better for us. All the other system did was just get me some more turtle bites. I thought for sure that one right there was a turtle, just the way he hit. He just wasn't big enough to run with the bait. Well, we'll try this again. I think we might be on. A weird bite once again. We'll see what it is if we can keep him hooked up. I'm a little nervous about it with the way that the bite went. I'm nervous about how solid that hook set is, just because it was such a strange bite. So I'm going to kind of let him do his thing and see if he can set that hook a little more solid for us. Okay, I think we got this one hooked a little bit better. It's not a terribly impressive fish, but it is a fish. So anytime you can get the first one in the kayak, you never know if it's going to come. I wasn't totally sure that it was going to happen for us out here today. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to end up with at least one cat. So it feels good to get the first bite, but I just don't know what the deal is with the flatheads. I'd really like to find a flathead, but I just haven't been successful this year as far as that's concerned. But I've been having a lot of fun with these channel cats. They're a lot of fun to catch, and the way I fish for them, it makes them that much more fun. I think he's got the hook pretty solid, so we're good to go on this fish here. He shouldn't be, of course I say that and I'll probably end up jinxing myself, but he shouldn't be throwing any hooks. Well, I think what I'll do is just set him back in the rod holder for a minute. Hopefully he doesn't get himself into any trouble down there, finding a snag or something to get wrapped around. But I'm gonna let him kind of hang out, do his thing while I get the camera mount set up. Let him kind of tire himself out. This mount I've been using is just a little DIY job there with some PVC pipe and a big old bolt. So just sticking that in a rod holder place here that's just stock on the kayak, but kind of repurposed it. See what we got going on here. Try to get him in the kayak. You have to bear with me. I apologize for the wind noise, but the wind's pretty much howling out here today, and there's really not a lot I can do about it. Yeah, it's not necessary there. Little guy, I kind of want to just lift him like this, but I don't want to risk him popping that hook. When you're only catching so many fish and you're trying to film your trip, you really want to do as much as you can to make sure you get him in the kayak. If I went to boat lift him, if I was just fishing without the camera by myself, I'd probably try to just boat lift and just swing this fish in the kayak. My line is plenty stout enough to handle it. And he appears to be hooked pretty solid, but knowing my luck, I'll go to do that and something will happen. He'll pop free. When you're filming a video and you tend to get as few bites is what I do, you really can't afford to lose a fish like that. So this right here is just a textbook channel cat. We got a million of these in this body of water, about this size. So it's probably a 4-pound, maybe 5-pound fish. Got a scale with me. I guess we could weigh him and find out. I typically don't weigh these fish, but past few trips I've been carrying a scale with me. There he is. That may be, who knows, very well could be the only fish of the trip, so it's nice to get him landed. It really is a quality fish. I mean, if we could come out here and catch 6 or 8 of these, I'd have a blast out here, but the problem is you just can't really rely on counting that many of them, catching that many of them, I should say. It's just, you know, it's an awesome river to fish. I really love fishing this body of water, and you never know what you're going to hook into. And when you hook into a really big fish on small water like this, it's just the amount of fun that you have, you just can't compare it to anything else. But that's just a textbook kind of channel cat for what we got around in this water. And for whatever reason, you're going to be hard pressed to find a day when you're able to come out and catch 6 or 8 of them. They're just, I don't know. You just don't, they're not hard to catch, but you just don't tend to catch too many. All right, one last look at him. I did weigh him. That fish ended up being 4 pounds. Really a perfect eater-sized fish if I was out here trying to take something home for dinner. That's not really the goal for me out here today. So we get that fish released. At least, like I said, we didn't get skunked today. So we'll examine this bait and see if we can maybe get a second fish in the kayak. Yeah, that bait's totally fine. It hadn't been down for too long. It's just got the mouth tore up a little bit. Or a lot of bit, I guess. So you can see we're not going to be hooking that thing through the mouth again, but we can just take and run our hook through the meat of the bait. And that bait will be just fine to catch us another fish. just like that, we're fishing again. Give it some time, see if another fish comes through, and we'll just keep moving along. That one must have been a turtle. So that bait was in perfect shape to reuse. It was down there for just a couple minutes and got totally destroyed. We'll move on. The thing wants it, but may not be big enough to get it. He may have got it there. We'll see what happens. He's acting like he might have got it, but I don't want to do anything until he kind of sets the hook on himself. Maybe he's on? I can't tell. These fish are acting weird today. Yeah, it's not a terribly big one again, that's part of it, but man, they're just acting a little bit odd. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how well he's got the hook. Hopefully we'll be able to get him in the kayak. One thing that's a little bit interesting about the water today, this river is extremely, I mean, it's always shallow, but it is more shallow today than it normally is. Probably as shallow as I have ever seen it, honestly. But the water is somewhat clear as well. Clear is a relative term, but the water is a little bit more clear than it ordinarily would be. And so I'm able kind of see a lot of what this fish is doing while he's swimming around down under the surface. But yeah, I mean, the water is just insanely shallow. I should have been on a different stretch of river today, and I had intended to go there, and then I ended up getting up a little bit later in the morning than what I had wanted to do, so I changed my plans and hit a section that's a little bit closer. But I'm kind of regretting that decision. I should have gone and hit that other stretch of river. It's a little bit deeper on that section, and I feel like we might have had a little bit better opportunity to catch some fish and maybe some better quality fish over in that deeper water. But regardless, I can't really change what I elected to do. Try to see how well this fish is hooked. Again, this is a small one here. It'd be a perfect eater size fish, and it'd be a great one to just lift on into the kayak without having to really mess around with them too much. But we'll play it safe. We'll land him by hand. All right, open up for me. Well, if you ain't gonna open up, we'll just boat you like that. Nice fish. Really good eater size. Probably pretty similar to the other one that we caught out here today. 4 or 5 pounds. Well, went ahead and set up the camera just because, I mean, this is what people are here to see. This is what you're tuning in to get a look at, is the fish. What you want to watch me reel, man, you want to see how I'm doing it. I've kind of explained in a bunch of my videos what I'm doing, but I'm just fishing a Carolina rig, suspending it underneath the kayak with a piece of cut bait, and trying to catch catfish that are substantially larger than that. But today what I'm catching out here is these 4 or 5 pound channel cats, good eater size fish, and a lot of fun to catch. I mean, like I said, if I was out here just tearing them up, and I can't remember the last time I came out and tore them up on this river, but if I was tearing them up out here and was catching 6 or 8 or 10 of them in a day, I wouldn't have any issue at all with catching them all, boating them all this size. But we're just not tearing them up. So when you spend several hours out here fishing just to get a couple that are about like that, I mean, if I was out here trying to get dinner, I'd be pretty pleased. But aside from that, you know, they're fun to reel in, but I'd like to reel in a few more, so I'm gonna stop talking, get them back in the water. Honestly, guys, I'm actually about out of time out here today, so we're soon to be done. This could be the last fish of the trip for us. I'm gonna fish a little bit longer, try to get just one more, but we'll get them released, try to maximize our time while we're doing that, see if we can catch another one. So again, we want to kind of get a look at that bait. This bait hasn't been out too long, still got the guts in there. It's still in good shape, but the mouth got tore on it a little bit. In this case, it really didn't get tore up too much, so all I'm gonna do is just rehook it back through the mouth. Need to get that glove off, kind of in my way. But I mean, that's where exactly where we had it hooked originally, and it's still hanging on there perfectly. So we're just gonna go ahead and put that back down just like that. All I'm doing, like I said, I'm just dropping these baits directly in front of the kayak. And I mean, we're only fishing 4 foot of water maybe, and just suspending that bait. Hey guys, well, I'm sitting on my last spot. It's time to film a closing. I had a good day. I mean, you always kind of wish that you had a little bit better day, but I can think of a lot of ways to spend a day that are much worse than sitting on the water, getting bit here and there, maybe not so often, maybe wishing that you were getting bit a little more frequent. All in all, I'm going home happy. I've had fun out here. That's always my goal. It's that time of year, man, where the bites just, they're tough to come by. It's blazing hot, so you don't really have a whole lot of time to fish until the heat kind of shuts the fish down. Combine that with the fact that the fish are on the nest. Just not much you can do except just put the time in, grind it out, and hope you get bit here and there. And so we had a couple bites today. I had fun, had a good day. Of course, I'm hoping things get better in the next trip or two, but we'll just keep on fishing, put the time in, spend enough time on the water. Things are bound to go your way at some point or another. So regardless of how things went today, I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we'll see you in the next one.